Well, guys, it's that time of the week. We're going to talk about some West Virginia football, and there's lots to talk about. We have some possible changes with the coach. Maybe Brown's out. We're going to talk about the modest improvement West Virginia's had over the past few weeks. Also, possible bowl games. Guys, there's a lot to pack into this show, so stay tuned.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative, I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase the bag, I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. So wait, I'll give up everything. Sick of the venom in my brain, running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this, I just wanna break these chains. Always destined for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many ones that I so they get famous, and when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day one, started to outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted, created a legacy off of me, just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail. I'll give up everything, daunting if I can see my dream. Cause I'll do anything, want a reality.
Well, guys, it's that time. So here we go. Last week of the season. You know, it's here. 2024 is about in the books. And I have to say, it's been a disappointing season. So, but it's not all doom and gloom. The Big 12 as a whole has, I guess, hit short of the target. So I'm going to talk about the big mess for the Big 12. Boy, BYU. Big 12 in general has hung their all their hats on BYU, waving the banner, making a good showing in the college football playoffs, and doesn't look like that's going to happen. Iowa State had some hiccups. Now we're sitting at a bunch of teams with 3 losses in the, a lot of teams with 3 losses in the conference, including West Virginia. A lot of teams that were ranked, that were supposed to carry the banner, are not doing that. So the ACC looks like they have a better chance of getting 2 teams into the college football playoffs, where just 2 weeks ago, it looked like the Big 12 was going to be the team with the conference with 2 teams in. So, man, so Texas Tech is coming off an old school shootout against the Cowboys, Oklahoma State. So, it was freaking crazy, 56-48 just those old school Dana Holgerson Baylor games, you know, that you're just like, oh my gosh, whoever doesn't score has to punt is going to lose. So it looks like they're having a pretty good regular season, but if you look at the odds, West Virginia is an underdog again. West Virginia is the underdog. So West Virginia is just coming off a 31-21 beating of UCF, and it looked like the game was in hand most of the game. You know, West Virginia didn't look like they were gonna, you know, botch it like the Pitt game or just fall on their face in the second half like they did against Kansas State. So with that, I wanted to go to chat. Shout out to Kelly. Thanks for tuning in, Kelly. Guys, it's hard. It's hard to really put a thumb on what's wrong with the program. You know, I heard one of the media guys, sports guys, I'm not going to say who it is. If I let you know what he said, you'll probably figure it out. But they said that West Virginia needs to recruit better players. I don't know how to take that. I don't know if that's exactly true. It is in some sense. You have some, you know, some positions that need a little bit of more athleticism, but for the most part, I think West Virginia's roster is competitive. I don't know. You know, you have teams like Penn State that they're poo-pooing James Franklin, but you know, we have the Mountaineers. You know, with Brown, just no one's happy with him. He's not happy being here. And the rumor is that he is going to be exiting at the end of the season. He's barring a miracle, it's Neil Brown's not going to survive, even if he wins. Okay. I think we've all can agree on that. It's just, you know, I think that the check is written. It's just a matter of the signature. So, and how West Virginia is going to pay that exit fee. So, you know, if you're a fan of the voice of Motown, Brad Smith, he's been on the show, and he has a little bit of a controversial take. And I kind of lean towards, well, I enjoy listening and reading what he puts out, but you know, he put in an article today of the possibility of Jackson State's head coach. Anybody heard of this guy? Maybe 15, 20 years ago, he was one of the hottest commodities in college football, Rich Rodriguez. Okay. He's now Jacksonville State's head coach. Now, Jacksonville State has been in you know, this is their second year in FBS. Second year. And they won the Conference USA Championship. And they start off a little slow. I think they lost a few games early in the season, but Rich Rod has them playing ball. So hear me out. Okay. I know Jimbo Fisher is a more sexy pick, but that goes along the vein with Rich Rod. And hear me out. See, so if the Mountaineers switch and decide they need to pull the plug, pull the ripcord, and make an exit from the Neil Brown, I don't know. I want to call it era experiment, and they fire him. But if Rich Rod comes in, it's now like you're selling your house, you have a mortgage, and you got to find a nice house to live in. Okay. You have to be reasonable. You're not going to go from a $4 million coach and be able to afford another $4 million coach. That's $8 million a year you have to cover. Come on, guys. This is West Virginia University. It's not we're not funneling money or embezzling money here. This isn't play money. This is taxpayers' money, students' money, alumni money. It has to come from somewhere. So when you fire Neil Brown, And Rich Rod would be a good replacement because Rich Rod makes $1 million now. So anywhere from 1.5 to 3 million is going to be a huge bump for him. Okay. So he might accept the deal for 2 million. Okay. If he accepts some, let's just play pretend. Then West Virginia will have a good coach, at least for a few years, to hopefully right the ship until they can get a big splash. Right? I don't know. Now, I'm not the only one to think of this. There's a Big 12 analyst. His name's C.W. Lambert, and he suggested this. And this was, it made me think. I had to take pen to paper and kind of like, yeah, this would make sense. But if you could get some donations from some big time alumni to kind of fill in some of the gaps, you might be able to kind of finagle maybe another coach. Okay. What are some possibilities? What are some? I don't know, guys. We've talked about good old Rich Rod, but let's talk about someone that wasn't really on my radar until I did some research. Colin Klein. Okay. So Klein is currently the offensive coordinator for the Aggies. So Texas A&M, it's an SEC school. It has that street cred. So it's a position he took after leaving a Big 12 school, Kansas State. So when he was at the Wildcats, he was the offensive coordinator in 2022 and 2023. So if you remember back then, 2022 and 2023, K-State was winning 10 games back to back. They're good. He was, and if you really go back and think, Klein was the quarterback back in the day. So that's a possibility. But you're in a situation where it's another head coach that's on the list that doesn't have that head coaching experience. Okay. So that's a negative. So, and there's always names on here that I butcher. So Andy Kotelnicki, okay, Kotelnicki, we all know who he is. So he has been with Kansas Jayhawks under Lance Leopold. Now, he's been Leopold's right-hand man for 10, 12 years, from when they were at their, that Wisconsin Whitewater School, the University of Buffalo. Then they moved to Kansas. And, he moved, and guys, this name's familiar because we talked about him in August because he had moved from Kansas to Penn State to help Franklin, and he did help James Franklin because their offense is moving a lot better than they were the previous years. They're scoring more points than they have in the past 3 years. So Penn State's looking better, and it's all because of this hire. So, and the back end of that, you saw Kansas for the first half of the season really take a hit in offensive production because this guy left. So, being a head coach seems like, it just seems like the smart thing to do for any program that's looking for a little pizzazz in their offense. So the Mountaineers might be sniffing around Andy's. The agent might be pushing Andy's name in front of Ren Baker. We don't know. Okay. Another name that is just, I don't know how this doesn't make the list. Okay. And it's like when you're a kid and you want like a bike and a Nintendo. I mean, or something crazy. Guys, Jimbo Fisher. Okay, Jimbo Fisher. Now, it might be a year past 10 years or right at 10 years, but guys, he has a ring. He won a national championship in 2013, a little over a decade, right? Who cares? He's from West Virginia. He's not that old, guys. I don't want to hear that he's old. He's not old. So I'm talking to the chat here, see what they say about what I've said so far. So far, Don Johnson, NB is a great guy, but hasn't worked at West Virginia. Yes, I'd love to see Rich Rod back. I don't think most people don't really understand the reasons he left. No, we don't know what happened. There's all kinds of rumors and speculation that they weren't giving him what he wanted, but then you have people from West Virginia saying, well, he didn't really want to be here. I don't know how true that is. David says, at least with RR, you develop players and there was a passion for football. Yeah, Rich Rod gave you that stare like he was going to punch his fist through your face and the teeth were going to come out the back of your throat. And that's what I like in a coach. I like a little bit of sass and a little bit of scare, okay? What Kelly said here? Kelly heard a rumor today that donors are going to pay Neil Brown's buyout. Kelly, I think partially. That's a huge buyout. So coaches, there's coaches that became like just close. Don Neal and Rich Rod were sniffing at national championships. 89 for Don, 93 for Don Neal, and I remember that year. They did not get selected for a national championship. They got picked for the Sugar Bowl. They lost to Florida. But Rich Rod would not be. Time heals all wounds. At this point, we need a superhero. We need someone with a cape. Yep. RR played for Neyland, learned. I think Rich Rod would be a better coach now than then because he's learned a lot. And I always liked his style of coaching, going back to when they had the fake punt against Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. That was epic. And that was not Pat McAfee. Anybody in the chat know who that was? Starts with the P. Not going to tell you. So Jimbo, as we know, is from what? Down the road, Clarksburg. Was he Clarksburg or Paramount, chat? I think it's Clarksburg. I don't know. But he's a guy who grew up right off 79, just south of Morgantown. And, he really is excited. I think he'd be excited, bring some excitement to the fan base. And I think he'd bring some excitement to the what? Bring some money through the doors. Okay? And if you're a kid, and this goes back to shows ago, when I talked to the parents of two Division I football players, we talked about what was important to them. The gear was nice. The facilities are nice. Coach is important. But what was the most important? I mean, this trumped everything, guys. Everything. It was stability. Jimbo could come in, and they know he has at least a couple years there. Purse strings open up. A Country Roads Trust gets them just a little bit juicier, a little bit bigger. You have your basketball program on the upswing, even though they lost to Pitt. They have a tournament this week coming up. They're going to play tomorrow night, and I foresee them doing great things. This is a football show, but if the basketball program's doing good, the football program's doing good, it's bringing in money. Okay. Now, what about Nick Saban? I don't think that's going to happen at all, guys. There's no chance in hell Nick Saban's coming. It's not his age. He is older. But I don't think he wants to deal with it. Okay? That would be crazy. But you have to think about this. Now, I'm talking about NFL here. Nick Saban and Bill Belichick, who Bill is coaching royalty for the Patriots, okay? When they were with the Browns from 91 to 94, I think they had a losing record. And they're both Hall of Fame coaches. So a little bit this has to be the right coach, the right place, the right time. Okay? And I think out of all these guys, Rich and Jimbo kind of fit into it. When you get like a new name like Colin or Andy, I think the problem is I think these young guys, they don't have that mindset of I want 4 years to develop to make a name for myself. They want to make a name for themselves within like a year, 18 months max. And you have to have that big D energy like Jimbo and Rich Rod has. And I'll tell you what, Jimbo does not, or Jimbo has an Addy. Rich Rod does not. But Rich Rod, because he took Jacksonville State, okay, and Jacksonville State was left with some of the cupboard was bare. A lot of the good players left, went with Coach Prime to Colorado, okay, two plus years ago. So Rich Rod's been there 2 years. He has recruited quality players. They won the Sun Belt. Let's talk about another West Virginia alumni that I wish West Virginia would have pulled the plug on last year. So if West Virginia would have took a nosedive last year, I really think in an alternate universe, Curt Cignetti would have been the Mountaineers coach. And he would have brought all that talent he brought to Indiana, even though they lost to Ohio State. I hate the words won't even come out of my mouth. I'm so upset because of root for Indiana, the Hoosiers. So Cignetti, whose dad coached at West Virginia, coached at Indiana University of Pennsylvania, the town where I grew up. So Curt Cignetti took his James Madison studs, all of the good players, went with him, and immediately he had a good team. So that's the change now. It's not you get to a program, you have a few years to build it up. You have to literally, you want to hire a coach that is winning this year so he can bring some of his quality players with him. Much like we saw with our basketball coach. Right? Makes sense. So let's go back to chat here. Kelly's telling me that Jimbo is from Clarksburg, not Fairmont. Thank you. Nick Saban is from Fairmont. That's where I get those two messed up, boys. That's what it is. Yes, Nick Saban is from Fairmont. Guys, there's just from that 79 corridor from Youngstown, Ohio, the whole way down to like Charleston, that whole swath of like 200 miles has coaches just dropping from the trees like acorns. You know how acorns, like every 3 years, you got a lot of acorns? That's just the way it is in Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio, and Northern West Virginia. You just got coaches falling from the trees. But we need one of those to fall on West Virginia's doorstep. We need it to happen. And I think it's going to happen. You know, you're not going to keep – Neil Brown does not want to be in Morgantown. When there's signs up that basically tell you you suck, and the fan base, it's palpable, okay? You look in the stands, and tickets were going for $4. You can't buy two Whopper Juniors for $4. You can't. It costs $5. For $4, you can go freeze your ass off and watch the Mountaineers barely win against a 4-16. Yep, you can. You can do that. Sign me up. Well, I have season tickets. I'm signed up. And guess what? I didn't go. I watched it on my big TV. Yes, I chose to sit at home rather than drive down there, freeze my butt off, and be disappointed. Because people don't want to pay money to be disappointed. Hate to say it. And yeah, call me a fair weather fan. No, I have more important things to do than sulk on my way home from watching the Mountaineers get beat by a team that they should not even be freaking getting beat by. Now, this isn't bashing on these kids, but the experiment's over. The fans want better. Pat McAfee wants better. Shane wants better. Joey wants better. I'm sure Coos wants better. And I'm sure Chris, Gold Blue Dude, is rolling over in his grave, screaming with his sunglasses on, fire Neil Brown. So, Todd, what are you saying, buddy? I hope the administration has the guts to fire Neil Brown. Ren Baker needs to fire him. And from what I've read 2 hours ago, the reports are that it's going to happen January 2nd. January 2nd, it's going to happen. What we want to know is who's coming into Morgantown. Okay. So guys, hit me up if you know, like, have any news of who's, and I don't have sources like these other folks do. I just have friends that live in Morgantown or friends that know someone that are telling me who's coming in and out of the airport. And as of right now, it's only agents calling Ren Baker. No one's stepped foot in Morgantown. And when they do, I'll cut a video for you. But like I told you, I'm a fan. I'm not a reporter. So if it's wrong, I'm sorry. This is water. This is like being in the coffee break room, okay, by the water, getting some water. There's the Culligan machine. My desk's right by it. I'm just listening for that gossip, listening and praying. So here's the problem. Here's the problem with January 2nd, kids. Yeah, you said it in chat. Here it is. Early sign up here is December 4th. They don't want to do it before that because of the money. But what you do is you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, because you're not going to, the recruiting window will open up again and you'll have a mass exodus out of the West Virginia locker room when Neil Brown leaves. I think Nico might leave. Because going back to what I said, coaches nowadays, when you're hired, you want a guy like Kurt Signetti that has a team, has his studs ready to rip. Deion Sanders left, took a couple players with him. Right. So early signing period is starting in like 10 days, kids. 10 days. Right? So there's already a player, Mallory, that Florida State is contacting, and it looks like he's going to flip from West Virginia to Florida State. This is a Florida State team that's lost, the first 6 games? Laid eggs? Just whoop, chicken sounds. If I could cue chicken sounds, that would be Florida State right now. Just laying eggs. Guys, it's tough. It's tough. Let's see what Kelly has to say. Definitely, Kelly. Jimbo is a slight possibility. Nick Saban, there's no chance in hell. What else is Kelly telling us here? The UNLV coach. Yes, but here's the thing. Mac Brown was fired. Not fired, but he's going to not return at the end of the season. So now you have a team of about the equal ilk of our beloved Mountaineers competing for the same type of coach and I would have to say UNC with Michael Jordan, the logo for Air Jordans, not the logo for them. I'm kind of spoofing off of Jerry West, but just I laid an egg there. So Mac Brown, he's leaving. So UNC has maybe just a tad bit more money than the Mountaineers. I don't think their program is as prestigious as what West Virginia's is. Okay. If I was a coach, I'd rather come to Morgantown, but I'm biased. No, seriously. I would I think that would, the fan base is just a little bit more rabid, and you're not competing with basketball as much. It's kind of on equal footing, where Chapel Hill, it's the basketball team, and then you have your, the football team. That's just the way it is. So WV Fan 23, no matter who leaves, the new coach will bring his own players. Absolutely. I would love to see a few of the players hang around, but I think it's going to be deuces. See you guys. January 1st isn't a buyout decrease anymore. They took a target date, and during the renegotiation. Oh, okay, Chris. Chris, hit me up a little bit more on that, because I want you to elaborate on that a little bit. Gary Wyndham, under the new contract, the money is the same if they fire him after Texas Tech or January 2nd. Oh, okay, Gary. So we might be able to fire him. See, I've read two different reports, and I'm erring on the side of caution. So Chris is right. WV fans saying. So Chris is right. January 1st isn't a buyout decrease anymore. So regardless if Neil Brown wins against Texas Tech, I really think West Virginia's firing. firing. It's just a matter of when. Guys, it's a matter of if they're doing it. They're going to do it before Christmas or after Christmas. I'm thinking he knows. Do you think Bren Baker and him have had a conversation? You would think that there's been a conversation. 75% of the remaining. That's still a lot of scratch to come up with. And that's why I think they go for someone that is in that ilk of not having a head coaching job, which I would rather have someone who's maybe a little older. Maybe has 6 good years of coaching left. I don't know, guys. I don't know. So let's talk about the mess that's the Big 12. You ready? Let's shift gears, because I'm going to be talking about this for the next couple weeks. We're just going to beat this dead horse until we get some concrete information. I'm going to be following everything on Twitter and everything on silly interwebs to figure out what's going on. But let's talk about the Big 12, because the Big 12 right now is like in the back of the bus, just flicking boogers. It does not look good. Big 12. Let me pull it up and share it with you. So just 2 weeks ago, it was BYU, Colorado, and everybody else. But that's not quite the case now. Right now, we're looking at a very crazy looking. Let me present my screen here. So bear with me here. Okay, here we go. So kids, hopefully everybody can see that. So the writing's on the wall, Todd, for a long time. So right now we're looking at Arizona State. Arizona State a month ago was in the back seat. Not even sniffing that front seat. Like you're a kid going out with your buddies, getting it back, right? Now you have this is what it looks like. 9-2. You have 3 teams at 9-2. And more than likely, you're going to have a team with 3 losses possibly getting to the college football playoffs. That's not a good look for the Big 12. Now, West Virginia has like a 2.02%, a 2% chance of all these other teams losing and then making into the it's not going to happen. We're not going to get into the Big 12 championship, but they are 6-5 and can finish at 7-5, which when they were on their skid a few weeks ago, I would have said it was a huge win. But guys and gals, listen to me. Who do you think is going to be playing for the Big 12? I thought it was going to be BYU, but they've lost 2 games in a row. Let's look at their schedule, and they don't have an easy schedule. I said it last week that Kansas is playing good ball, and guess what? They won 2 games in a row, and this was a old school 13-17 defense, and by the way, a little side defense. Wow, you should have took the under on that. If you did, God bless you. We have Arizona State. They're playing Arizona State. So right there, Arizona State is hot. That's a game I'm gonna guys. Man, they lost to Arizona State. Arizona State. That's a game that I tuned in and I couldn't change it. I couldn't click out of the, I was just couldn't stop watching it. But I think they have a chance of winning the last game they have on their schedule, which is Houston. So good for them. BYU is going to be playing, my opinion, in the championship with one of these 2 teams. Let's see who Iowa State plays. Iowa State plays Kansas State in Ames, Iowa. Guys, that right there, if you want to watch a game, that's the game to watch. But wait, hold your horses. We got Arizona going to decide What happens if Arizona State, Iowa State both win? Well, we have Colorado, but they have an 8-3 record overall. And they're playing Oklahoma State, and that's not a give me. You know, right here, guys, it's going to come down to these three teams: Arizona State, BYU, and Iowa State. So what does this mean for the West Virginia Mountaineers? Well, it means they're going to go bowling, but we're going to talk about that bowl. What bowl do you think they're going to be playing in? I've heard a couple different rumors. I heard that they might be playing the Gasparilla Bowl against Army. I heard they might be playing against Florida. You know, either or, that'd be a great game to watch. I would rather see them play Florida than Army. Army, and I've said this on my show, you guys know I'm an Army mark. They lost against Notre Dame. Army lost against Notre Dame. That's their only loss. They run that option. It looks like a plastic surgeon in South Beach to perfection. If you know what I'm talking about. I don't know how the cameraman, he has to know the play, because I'm watching on TV and I'm like, oh, wait, the ball's over there. That's me watching with my fat ass on the seat. Imagine being a defensive lineman or an end or an outside linebacker and having to play that. You have to have discipline. You have to assignment football. And my gosh, does Army play good football? They're disciplined. I don't want West Virginia to play Army. Don't want it to happen. Hit me up in the chat. What do you think? Kelly is voting for Florida. So let's see. I'm going to type it. Guys, if I do my search early in the morning, it freaking changes. That's what we're talking about here. Yeah, different people are saying different things for the Mountaineers. SI has West Virginia playing Myrtle Beach Bowl in Conway, South Carolina, Buffalo versus Marshall. That'll be interesting. BYU versus Pittsburgh. Good luck, Pittsburgh, with that. Okay, Independence Bowl, December 28th, Army versus West Virginia. Guys. Yeah, West Virginia fan 23. It's like a lame duck president. I don't know. It's like I don't know if they can pull it out. Army is so damn good. They're so good. That's what SI's picking. Most of the folks have us in the Gasparilla Bowl. Let's see. I mean, look at one other spot, kids. But I know I'm going to watch it. I will make myself a plate of food, make it an event, put it on the TV, put a West Virginia hat on, put slippers on, maybe put the fire, have a nice crackling fire. I don't drink, but I might have a sarsaparilla or a 0 calorie root beer. I just had one today. Boy, they're good. Let me see what the interweb tells us. Well, here, Wyatt Millam says he does not plan to sit out for the West Virginia's bowl game. Well, that's great. That's good. So WBOY says West Virginia, and we'll go through all of them here. Action Sport Network has the Independence Bowl versus Army. Athlon Sports says versus Tulane. Okay. CBS Sports, this is one of my favorite matchups. Gasparilla Bowl versus Florida. Now, ESPN has two different folks saying two different things. Independence Bowl versus Oklahoma. Ooh, that would be a great matchup. Not for the Mountaineers, because Oklahoma's playing pretty good ball this year, but it would be kind of nice to see them play Oklahoma again. And then Armed Forces Bowl versus Navy. Yeah, they could handle Navy, but they won't have an answer for Army. Armed Forces Bowl versus Arkansas. That would be an interesting one. First Responder Bowl versus Oklahoma. So, guys, that's what we have so far, and that changes week to week. But so we have Army, Florida, Navy, Who else do we have on that list? Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Tulane. Those are the teams they're talking about. Guys, they're all going to be around. The Gasparilla Bowl is on December 20th. That's about the time you have the playoff games. Your Texas Fort Worth Bowl, or your Armed Forces Bowl, is going to be in Texas. It's the 27th. Your First Responder Bowl is going to be January 3rd. So that gives the Mountaineers some extra practice time. But that really doesn't help us, though, does it? Because it's going to be like rats jumping off a burning ship. It's going to be like that, guys. So, with that being said, I want everybody in the comments. I want to thank everybody in the comments. We'll go through here and read last few, and then we'll close out the show. So, doesn't matter who leaves, the coach will bring his own players. And yeah, that's exactly true. So we talked about that. So Kelly likes Florida. WVU fan says that West Virginia doesn't beat either Florida or Army, because that's what we were talking about at the time. Is there a way we could play Pitt again? Laugh out loud. I don't know. I don't know if I want to. Well, I think if they played Pitt again, West Virginia would lay the wood to them. Pitt's in shambles. Let's talk about that. What a classless piece of trash. And I won't even mention his name. It's not worth mentioning. But Pitt's head coach is a dirtbag. And karma is a B to the I to the T to the C. You know what I'm talking about. Because right after he badmouthed West Virginia, well, Pitt has lost 3 in a row. So we all knew that was going to happen. So I don't know. I would love to see Pitt play West Virginia in a bowl, but I don't think that's going to happen. Can't wait to see all the overhyped videos at the start of next season, regardless of if Brown is back or not. Yeah, and you know what? I am guilty as charged. Joey and I were just over the moon thinking this year was going to be a great year. Tosh Miller, if Neil's getting fired, the sooner the better for the program. Yeah, I think as was mentioned in the chat, the writing's on the wall. I think the decisions has been made. I think they have to click send or bring him in. Click send to HR, bring him in. Ren Baker sits him down, says, "Hey Neil, if I'm Neil Brown, I'm smiling ear to ear because I don't want to be here. You badmouth me, you put me on a billboard, you give me a hard time. Well, some of it's deserved. And then I'm cashing my check. He's getting paid. There's no such thing as a sad Division I head coach anymore because they got checked. They got Venmo'd about $4 million. They're not going to Ross. They're not going to the thrift shop getting stuff. They're not looking off Facebook Marketplace for used tractors. No, that's not Neil Brown's world. Neil Brown's world is now he is a straight baller with a budget. Right? He's a straight baller, right? So, with that being said, yeah, Pitt is their fans are kind of shitty too. But there are some good ones. Joe Hartz had him on the show. Pitt alum, good dude, humble. Beginning of the season, like I don't know what's gonna happen. I think Pitt's mediocre. But guess what? They're mediocre. West Virginia, them are gonna have about the same record when it's all said and done. I just wish West Virginia would have hung a W that night. There's no reason they should have. Last comment here. ESPN just gave a shout out to Y. Miller. Yeah, he's a top O lineman. Absolutely. I mean, that's good for the program. If you're a program and you're constantly producing first round offensive linemen, you're gonna have you're gonna have a competitive football program. That's something that says a lot about your program. The offensive linemen and the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks, offensive linemen. That will make that'll go so far. But you know, what next? What happens when the new coach comes in? Well, if he comes in January 2nd, we're screwed. We talked about that. So when I read that in the article, I absolutely lose my mind. I'm like, that's just, you're screwed. You're better off keeping Brown at that point. But get rid of him December 4th, you know, then, you know, you have a chance. Hopefully it's a couple days prior so the guy can actually start making calls to guys. And the new coach has been working recruits. And he'll just say, hey, listen, I'm going to go over here. Would you want to come with me? And, you know, the coach at West Virginia is going to get. Now, here's the thing. Jimbo Fisher has not been recruiting. Rich Rod has. Right? So think about that. Rich Rod, he's been calling folks. He's been on the phone. He has a pulse what's happening in college football. Jimbo been out of the game. He's going to have to get hot to it. Make like horse shit, hit the trail, getting out there on the recruiting trail. So thank everybody in the chat. Guys, it's been a banger of a show. You have a great Thanksgiving. You have a good holiday. If you drink, don't drive. And I'll tell you what, it's the last game, excited. And oh my gosh, someone mentioned John Gruden. JDK, that is funny. That is so funny. Guys, I want to thank everybody for popping in. You have a good one. I want you all to just give a big old let's go. You're supposed to say Mountaineers, right? Mountaineers.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round. Welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head, constantly thoughts jumbled around. Think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win. I'll take a stab, I wanna chase the bag. I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I gotta taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch.